Well, hey everybody, welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel, where I want to talk about tonight the number one reason why the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. The number one reason why the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. You know, I've been reading a lot of books over the last several years on finances, and I'm really interested in this topic because I didn't really have anyone teach me anything about finances when I was growing up, or at least it was very minimal. And I certainly didn't have anyone explain to me how the rich get rich and the poor stay poor. Not like I've been reading lately. And so I'm going to do this quick video tonight, and hopefully those of you who end up finding this video find it helpful. And I'm even going to have a few different illustrations to share with you to hopefully help you understand it. So when we're talking about the rich getting richer and the poor staying poor, we have to start off with basically the three different classes that most people are familiar with here in America, at least in the West. And that is, you have the poor, you have the middle class, and you have the wealthy. And when you really stop and think about those three things, you can really start to unpack what it is that separates the three classes. And so for the sake of this video, let's just start off by assuming that these $10 in Monopoly money represent the average income for a person in each class. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that everyone gets the same amount of money, just for this illustration. So one of the things that you have to realize is that, let's start with the poorest of the poor. The poor usually have a very low income amount, and therefore believe that it's not possible to become rich or to become wealthy, because they are on a limited fixed budget. They have to pay their rent, they have to pay their utilities, all those types of things. And so they have the money that comes in, and then they pay out of that their rent. So let's say that for a lot of them, their rent is 40% of their income. So we'll remove $4 for this illustration. So $4 goes to your landlord. That leaves $6. Now, from that $6, let's say that you pay, depending on what bracket you're in, if you're in a lower bracket, you can pay as little as maybe 10% in taxes. And so one of those dollars goes to taxes, okay? So that leaves you with $5, okay? So you have $5 left. And so from that $5, you have to pay your bills, okay? So you have to pay for your utilities. You have to pay for maybe your cable, or whatever the case may be. And for a lot of people, that is quite a bit of their leftover money. And so let's just say that $3 goes to your expenses, and let's say that out of the $2 that you have left, you have to pay for any debts that you have. And so you're out of money, basically, right? You have no money left at the end of the pay cycle, and you fall behind, and when you get paid again, the cycle continues. All right, so let's make that same example, or take that same example with the middle class. So let's say the middle class has an income, but the middle class always also has something that the poor don't have, which is access to credit, right? Because they have a higher income and they can show that they're making this much money. Now they can buy a house, they can buy a couple cars. And so let's just say, for the sake of this video, out of theirs, they pay 30% in their housing for their mortgage. That's probably pretty generous. I think most people are probably higher than that, but we'll just say that. The other thing, and I should have taken this off the top, is they pay a higher income tax. And so for them, it's more like 20%. So $2 of the dollars have to go away. Then let's say $3 for their housing. And then let's say they have a couple cars because they can afford a car that the poor person can't. So they have car payments. And for them, they take another potentially 20% of their income to travel, or to not travel, but to their cars and their insurance. And they have 2 car payments and the maintenance and repair and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so then they have to pay their debt. So they have $2 left. And maybe they contribute a little bit to a 401k. But ultimately, they like to go out to eat. They like to have fun on the weekends. And so they spend a lot of money on entertainment. But again, the difference is they have credit. So they're able to actually borrow more money. But the problem is, by borrowing more money, they take on more liabilities, and so they have more payments. So this gets us to the rich or to the wealthy. So what is it that differentiates the poor, the middle class, and the wealthy? I'm going to show it to you right now in this illustration with 10 $1 bills. And if you can see this or hear this, hit the like button, say hello, let me know where you're watching from. Ready? The one difference is, when they get paid, they use the first 10% to buy assets. They pay themselves first. Think about that. It's the one thing that differentiates the poor and the middle class from the wealthy. The rich pay themselves first. And so what do they buy? They buy assets. They buy stocks. They buy bonds. They start a business. Something that within a very short period of time starts going full circle back into their income. And so stop and think about this for a minute. This is really profound. Yes, they have to do all the other things. They have to pay their taxes. They have to pay for their mortgage. Maybe they have a car payment. Maybe they have to pay off, maybe they're paying for their kids' college or whatever. But the one difference, and I learned this in a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. This is the whole point of the whole book. The one thing that's different about the rich and the wealthy compared to the poor and the middle class is they pay themselves first by becoming part owners of a business. Whether they buy a stock or they buy a mutual fund or they start a business, whatever the case may be, they take those first dollars and they reinvest it in themselves. And what ends up happening is that it's not sexy, it's not glamorous. In fact, it takes time. Anyone can get rich in this country. Think about it. The problem is, it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, it takes a long time. But little by little, this $1 or 10% of your very first income goes into stocks, mutual funds, a business, whatever the case may be. Within a period of time, as time goes by, those assets now start to pay you. And so as that grows, it grows exponentially. Let's say they don't need the money that comes in, they reinvest it. So now the next year, they take the first 10%, they invest it into a business, a stock, a mutual fund, whatever the case may be, and they reinvest the money that they've made earned through their through last year's income from their assets, they reinvest it. Now it's a compounding effect. Meanwhile, the poor and the middle class continue to spend all the first dollars they make and put very little into investing, if any. And their income is flat, their wages haven't changed, and guess what? They stay poor. This really hit me this week because I was meeting with a financial planner, and he was talking to me about how businesses, people who own businesses, how it works. You know, you start a business, and for the first few years, it's very difficult to get the ball rolling, but pretty soon it starts moving. Maybe the first couple of years you don't have a profit, but all of a sudden in year 3 or year 4 or year 5, you have this little bit of profit. What can you do with that profit? You can spend it, or you can put it back into your business, and guess what? You're going to expand your revenue, you're going to expand your business, and the next year it's going to be bigger, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year. The number one reason that the rich get richer and the poor stay poor is because the rich invest and reinvest in themselves every year. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.